Okay, welcome back. Today we're going to go on a bit of a walking tour. I'll talk and explain why as we go. Let's get going right away and I'll show you some stuff. What is this? What are we doing there? This is the annual garden. So what is that? Let's start right there. Okay, so here's my yesterday after works project. We basically went to a place nearby and they reclaim barnwood from barn teardowns. We got 12 sheets of that 8x4 siding, and then we've got about 300 feet, linear feet of wood of hemlock that's recovered from a barn teardown, and we're going to do some serious raised beds this year. I was thinking about different designs on the raised beds. We're actually just going to go pretty basic. I was thinking of keyhole designs, even like an S-shaped keyhole design that weaves through. I wasn't sure how long that would actually like weather, over the years with forces on the bed. I wanted to make sure that this stays looking really nice. So we actually will probably just do two 8x4, maybe even 8x5 beds. So you can get to them on each side and do trellis between them. We'll see that as we go. Here's the annual bed, and the reason why we're doing it is because I want more space, and I asked the wife if I could push this further out into the grass lawn here, and that was not a big fan, but she does like raised beds, so we're gonna get things looking nice and tidy and organized and really, really nice. And you can see tons of raspberries coming up. We've been eating a ton. Here's some garlic. This here is a big field of garlic. These are all garlics that I missed. So I pulled a ton of garlic out of there, but I didn't get it all. We've got mint. There's more garlic here. And then we've got sorrel. So here's a patch of sorrel here. This is a patch of good King Henry there. And these are already going into salads. I had a salad yesterday. It was so delicious with all of this profusion sorrel. Here, this is a different type of variety. It's a little bit of a greener, thicker leaf. It's a little crunchier. Love it. Absolutely love it. It's from Richter's Herbs. I'm going to try to get some more of that. We've got haskap, a cherry bush. There's an elderberry back here. So there are perennial elements in here. But for the most part, this is like a perennial section of our annual garden. So we've got some kales that technically aren't perennials. They're like biennials, but they pop up and they seed so easily. This is all just reseeded from last year. I basically take the seeds and spread them. And then the annual beds will go here. South is there. So that's south. So the sun will come up, and then all afternoon, this whole bed gets full sun. So we're going to orient them like that. And for this tour, I'm going to basically start here at the annual bed. I'm going to walk all down there, chicken area, and then up here the pond is there. Then go up the side. That's where the proper food forest is. We'll go down, weave down, go down to the bottom area, back in behind there. So we'll try to do like the same path each time. And I'll just explain why. Here's the compost setup. This is where I do all the biochar and everything, and we'll get this looking nicer too. We'll probably do some pallet setup. And usually like I'll cut this stuff out. Here's grapes. So we've got grapes and raspberries, and there's a autumn olive in there as well. And then the chickens. We're going to expand the chicken yard this year, hopefully, as well. We've got the bees back here. So I don't always show all this stuff, and that's one thing that I'm going to try to do, is show the same areas multiple times. That way I have more of a continuous flow through of what it feels like to be on the property and what the property looks like at all different seasons. So there's the house with the solar on it, the chickens. We're going to expand the chicken yard out here, so you might see a change in this. We're going to put kind of more harder fences up. This is an area under this giant pine where I get morels. So we are about a week away from morel season. So every day I come in and check the grass, because it actually grows up right through the roots. And I check the grass for morel. So nothing yet. Ginny can get down there into the lower area here. We've got raspberries on that back hill to keep deer from coming in. A big weave of thorny plants. That's how we deal with the raspberries. Those are like a thornier version of raspberries. These are like more of a thornless. They still have thorns, but they're really small. And you can see we've got creeping Charlie that's decided it wants to live in there as a ground cover. It's going to be impossible to get rid of. So once this raspberry actually kind of leafs out, then that'll grow. And this is the problem with the tours, is I always want to show you everything. Haskap, we've got cherries. This is the Jerusalem artichoke bed with filberts. And I want to show you everything all the time. So then the tours take 3 hours if I was to do a constant tour. So we'll try to avoid doing that. There's another cherry here, because I want to give the feel of, you know, what the whole system looks like. Here's the pond. I'm walking through an annual bed right now that will set up the tomatoes probably this year. So here's the pond, and there's Wildflower Hill on the back side, which we'll probably end the tour with. I think that path makes sense. There's so much going on at the pond that I can't possibly talk about everything here. So let's just kind of walk through. And then now we're at the top. This is the shot that most people know about the property. Got my little hand dug pond there. I can show you some things when all of these leaves aren't up yet. And normally I won't walk down here, I'll go the other way. But I want to show the swale, while everything doesn't have leaves yet, how the back side of my swale connects to my whole property. So this is the back side of this swale. You can kind of see the elevation, swale, berm. So you can see that, and that goes all the way down to the other end. And this way, any of the rainwater that wants to leave my food forest is caught in that swale. I grow comfrey in that swale. I can cut it, and then I can pull it back in. So here's the main food forest strip. Now, one thing with these tours is this whole second half of the food forest we added 2 years ago, and it goes and cuts right around the whole property. So that is going to be hard to show on a continuous loop. I'm not sure exactly the path, but one of the reasons I wanted to do these, you know, I can't possibly talk about everything that's in here on one of these tour videos, but I wanted to have a continuous shot of walking through the food forest so that I can see my property through the year and how it's evolving and changing. So we're going to come through here, I think. We'll walk down there and we'll cut back around this trellis and go down that hill after. This is Haskap and strawberry area. We'll turn back through here. This can show the back side of this tour, and you're going to get lots of Lucy barking and lots of my tripod kind of hitting stuff and camera getting knocked. But this way, you know, I can kind of just walk and talk and do it as a continuous shot, making sure I don't step on any little creatures like these. These are all things that are very hard to see. I've got all these things like this, like serviceberry, planted in here that are very, very hard to see. These are the dogs that Lucy loves. Every day she comes and barks at them, and she tears this strip. Look at her go, like a typewriter, back and forth. This is why I have to redesign some of my guilds, because she just typewriters through my whole food forest. So this is the back side. We're walking down the front, and you can see here, if I zoom down, I've sown ground cover of clover and mint down on the ground, trying to get some ground covers established. And we've also got echinacea. We've also got echinacea, basically coneflower, and a whole bunch of different stuff. This is a linden guild, so you can see I've cleaned up the blueberry. And actually, sorry, just like this is the back side of that swale. So this is the swale that comes all the way down the property. This is where I have videos of the comfrey border doing a great job blocking the grasses in. You can really see it here, right? So this is the comfrey comes up, I step it down, and you can see even where I step it down, where it hasn't quite hit the root mass yet, the grass just stops. So great use of plants for functional uses. We've also got a little second mini swale cut in back there on the back side. You can't really see, it'd be hard for me to show everything. So here's what we do with the blackberries. You cut out the old canes, and then you kind of tip back the other ones. We've got a linden growing right in between it there, popping up, that I planted. And a couple other things, like I put currants in there. We've got some native flowers. I can't remember what all of these are, to be honest. I have to wait till the leaves come up. Some of the flowers I'm not as familiar with. I can't identify them just from, you know, their early leaves. Not yet anyways, I'm getting better. But they're all native wildflowers that I've added. I've added hundreds of them, so I'll do a video of that as well in the future. So yeah, we basically tip back so that these will then now, it changes the hormone flow up through the plant when you tip back and make a heading cut, and you get a different hormone that actually creates lateral growth, and the plant will actually fruit off the lateral growth. So not only are you causing it to bush out, but you're actually changing the hormones of the plant to do that. Now, I'm not sure about this path. I think we'll just go down this way. I have two entrances down to the lower area, one there, and then one on the other side of this cedar. This whole area here is one that I focused on in the early days of my food forest. In fact, my annual garden was down here originally, and I've since moved it up. I've started working more on the top, kind of working with permaculture zones as I learned about permaculture. And I'll tell you, the permaculture zones is one of the things in permaculture that is maybe, I thought, blown out of proportion. People make too big of a deal of it. This is just sumac here. They make too big of a deal of it, but to be honest, it's a really important thing, because this is so far down that it's really hard for me to get to all this. And people who've been watching for years now would know that I had about a 15-foot peach there that died this year. So I kept pruning it back all the way down, and this is all we have left till I got to live wood. I'm hoping we get some growth coming out of there. Very likely that tree died, but we've been planting more longer term species in there, in here, like oaks, walnuts, we've got hickory. So we've been planting some of these long-term species in there, and then we've also been allowing some of the sumac to creep in, because sumac is great for bees and birds, and you can also make little teas out of it as well. So we've been transitioning this to actually, you know, strawberries. We've got coltsfoot in there, which is a herbal medicinal, and we're going to transition this more into a low-maintenance wild garden that I occasionally come and forage. Then we've also got jewelweed planted in here, which is a great remedy for poison ivy and any kind of irritation, bug bites, that kind of thing. And then this is the Old Man Walking Trail. So you can see a couple years ago we put in about 700, I think, leaf bags. You can see, look at this. Isn't this just disgusting? I'll be pulling garbage out of this. People just put this stuff in their leaf bags. I didn't even notice this here. This is what I'll get, even though I'm very careful about where I get my leaf bags. So you can see there's not any in here anymore, but I've been pulling it out. So I'll find some. I think this year we got a lot of wind, like really, really bad wind, and blew a lot of the rest of the leaves away. So we're low. We're probably going to wood chip here, but I've also sowed out a ton of lamb's quarter. We've got, what else? We have alfalfa, clover, echinacea, black-eyed Susan. So we've kind of seeded all down in here. We'll get a nice kind of ground cover going. And then we've got, you can see some asparagus in here. See that over there? Sometimes it's hard to see. Asparagus in there. We've got raspberries. You can see all the seeds kind of coming up. We've got lupin in that is getting established in there as well. So this also, and then we've got obviously garlic mustard. This big clump here is garlic mustard, so that's chicken food. We've got some of these other big things in there. That's mullein. It's a great leaf mullein, and these are great for tea and clearing your throat as well. Like if you've got a cold, it's really good for that. And then this is the pawpaw. So this is the pawpaw part of the Old Man Walking Trail. We've got black walnut with it because pawpaw work really well with black walnut. Got a Gatorade bottle, so thanks for that. It's fantastic. So I have to come down here. You can tell I don't come down here as much to clean some of this stuff out. This crap that I get in my leaf bags from people. This is a corkscrew willow, so this will be good for just like a really interesting tree. This is here is the stream that borders the property that the farmer north of me sprays toxin into, so that's fantastic. In my original plans for this food forest, I had planned on tapping part of this stream in and then using this to actually wind through kind of a similar old man walking trail design that I wanted to do down here, but do it kind of like Mexican chinapas. So I wanted basically all of the walking ways to be rivers. Take half of this land until you hit the water, because the water table is really, really high here. I wanted to take the land, put it onto beds, and then have laneways instead of walking ways. I would canoe through here. Yeah, I had some pretty crazy big plans originally, and what I wanted to do is tap at the high point, tap into that, and the grade is just so slight that I could wind this thing back and forth through these walking paths and create a chinampa down here. So that was the original plan. I think I underestimated how much work that would be to do. I might still do that in the back. So we're still just winding through the old man walking trail here. We've got cherries, mulberries, elderberry. There's a cutting from a black tower elderberry that's doing really well. This whole patch here where we've got the sticks, these sticks are walking indications for me so that I don't step on my asparagus, my baby asparagus crowns that I planted in between. You can kind of see one there, there's another one there. And then this is just a continued walking area through the old man walking trail coming to the back side of this pawpaw. So I kind of design in so that I can get to each side of the trees that I really want to harvest. These are some apples. And you can see we've had a sumac come down that I'm going to have to deal with. So there's a sumac that had fallen down. I'm going to have to come in and deal with that. Cut it for some biochar wood. You can see the raspberries are going to do great down here. So raspberries will do fantastic, and I'll just mow where they want to creep into on the paths. Okay, so now we're coming up to the backside of Wildflower Hill. This is the backside of the pond. We'll probably end the tour here. And this area here is one of the main reasons why I wanted to shoot this video, actually, so that I could watch how this evolves over the season. So this is just the backside of the pond. I've sowed this out in my So You Want to Plant a Forest video, and we did thousands of seeds down here, hundreds of different types of plant. Actually, I've got a burdock there, and this is probably one plant that I planted because I was excited to try a perennial root tuber that I could dig up. This was before I found oh geez, what are they called? Jerusalem artichokes. And you can actually dig this up and you can eat the tubers, and it's like comfrey, but but edible, delicious roots. Problem is the burrs, the burdock, the burr part of the burdock. This gets caught on all the dogs, and probably my biggest mistake planting on my food forest. So there's a lesson for you. I would avoid burdock personally, or do it in an area that you can control it and you can cut it when it's flowering so that you don't get these burrs. These are just absolutely brutal, and it ties all the dog's fur up. I have to be really careful when I'm walking down here because, like I say, I plant all these little tiny things, these tiny little currant cuttings. We've got service berries down in here. So I try to flag them with these little trunk protectors so that I can see them, but I planted so many of them in a couple of my days here that it's really, really hard for me to find them all. And you can see that I'm spreading yarrow all through here. Echinacea, we've got some goldenrod coming up. So lots of fun stuff in here. And then let me check on the jujube. I won't be able to show you everything all the time. Yeah, jujube always comes up a little late, so it's hard to tell whether that's alive or not. I can do the scratch test. This top part is definitely dead, but hopefully some of the bottom is alive. Trying to get jujube established here. We've got another one planted up here. This is all goldenrod, by the way, that I've just chopped and dropped. If you're wondering what the kind of messy stuff is. So here's another jujube. And I planted this like right up against this rock for thermal mass. This is the north side of this. And this one looks alive actually. So that's good. So this one's alive. And then we've got a serviceberry right next to it. So yeah, this is what I talk about when I say I have to be really careful about my walking paths and where I walk. It's because I plant stuff everywhere and I don't want it to break and be killed now. I want it to kind of have time to grow and evolve and get bigger. Once the things are bigger, you don't have to worry about stepping on them so much. And I can probably show you some fiddleheads. We've got fiddleheads planted in here. This is the dying leaf matter of it. So this is a fiddlehead crown here. So this one is either dead or not coming up. I've got another one here. Oh, so this one's alive. So they're just poking through now. So I wanted to really get some of the core forageables, morels, fiddleheads, ramps, these kind of things. Ramps are also called ramsons in some cultures. It was one of the seeds that I'm starting this year. We've got, I don't know how this came in, this packet of Bermuda grass. Try to get that out. So that's pretty much it for the tour. Oh, that didn't work right. That's pretty much it for the tour. We're gonna establish some kiwis on that back area. Kind of have it crawling right across that porch. And the service berries are probably about a week away from giving their show. It only lasts for a couple days, but it's probably the most spectacular show in the food forest. Okay, swinging the camera, sorry about that. And just popping up here, I want to kind of look at some of these beds. Got Great Sweet Williams popping up. The pawpaws haven't leafed out yet, but we've got a fun year. I also seeded all this out, this pawpaw here next to the hand dug pond. I seeded all this out to stuff, I can't remember. I'll see when it pops up. I put some of the ramps in some of these shadier areas. So there's another serviceberry there. Got yarrow all around this bench, so I wanted to be surrounded by yarrow when I'm sitting up here. We did put some mint in here, so that's playing with fire, that's for sure. But I'm okay if stuff like mint wants to kind of take over and I'm just walking on the mint. I'm totally fine with that. I'm usually out here in boots, so I'm okay stepping on stuff that are, you know, has pollinators flying in it. I'm not too afraid of getting stung. And then this is where I put the ramps. So this is like a little Egyptian walking onion, haskap, serviceberry, guild. You can see that's some of my nice compost with the biochar in it. And that's it, we're back at the top. This is the tour. So thanks for watching. I'm gonna try to do some of these videos maybe every month. I'm gonna try to be really good at it because last year, I mean, my dad got sick. Let me just pause this for a second. Yeah, so last year around the June, July, August area, my dad got a little sick. He was in the hospital for a couple months, maybe a month and a half. So I didn't have any videos at all. That's understandable. He's still going through some hard stuff, so this year might be a little riddled with some tough times with my father as well. But I'll try to get out here and just do like a walkthrough like this. I wanted to do it in a low editing way, so sorry about any camera shakes, weird things where I'm looking at my camera to pause it. That's all going to be in here. Stuttering's going to be in here. But what I wanted to do is do a quick video that I can just publish and release show you all the food forest, and then I don't necessarily have to sit there in editing for 8 hours, and then that limits the amount of videos that I put out. Especially in the growing season, I want to get as much content out there as possible so that you have visual indicators of what it's like to be in the food forest. You have visual indicators for where plants are at different stages of the season, things that I'm looking for as I'm walking through the food forest, things that are, catching my eye. I can't possibly talk about everything. It would take 4 hours to walk through the food forest. But you can ask in the questions, and sometimes I'll be able to help out. But I just want a whole bunch of videos out there that I can then look back and say, okay, this is what my food forest looked like on that day. And then I also think that when I go really topic heavy, when I talk about, here's a sheet mulching guide, and here's a propagation guide, and here's, all of these soil microbiology guides, that kind of thing, that's good for getting information across. But sometimes you just want to see green stuff. And that's what these videos are going to be. It's going to be videos for people who just want to go on a walking tour of a food forest and go regularly and see the same path and watch it evolve. So I hope you enjoy this. Let me know if you like this idea of a video, a more kind of casual and relaxed video, and it won't have stuff like this, me just rambling into the camera at the end of a video. We'll end it. See you on the next one. Happy gardening, everybody.